How's it going, everyone? Chase here with another controversial topic. Today, we're going to be discussing the death penalty and whether or not it should still be around or if we should get rid of it altogether. Um, I mean, there's good arguments for both side. Both sides. This is not an easy subject, obviously, to take one side strongly, but we'll be looking at both sides. We will kind of see what there is, and yeah, and we'll have a good discussion down in the comments about what you guys think. But let's get right into it. Obviously, the death penalty is around in a lot of states in the United States. That's it's not like people are being executed all over the place, but there is a process, and when it gets down to it, at the end of the process, people are executed. Um, and in some circumstances, potentially innocent people are executed. But in today's day and age, with all of the forensic studies and the technology we have to determining, crime in general, we we have definitely gotten a ton better at identifying the proper criminal for certain crimes. So that being said, does that make it any more right that we put people to death for their crime? Well, let's just take it both sides real quick. Let's do a one side versus the other. Let's say yes. Let's hold people accountable for their actions to the highest degree. Let's say let's even have more severe punishments, maybe public executions. Can't torture, but I definitely think being hung is more. Um, it's it it's viewed as a more painful way to go as saying injection or whatever. But let's say public execution, people are being hung. Would that deter crime? Would that deter crime any more than it does in today's age? And this is what this article's for. Basically, this is a study, and there's been a lot of studies done about this. If the death penalty actually deters certain types of crime, and I have to say, out of all the studies I've seen, there has been no conclusive evidence that the death penalty helps crime. Usually, what they find that helps reduce crime are other factors, say increased increased security around certain areas, stronger police force, um, certain laws with guns usually makes a little bit of a difference. Um, but when it comes to the death penalty, it doesn't seem like it actually, there's no conclusive evidence that it actually deters people from doing it. And I have a good explanation for this, or a good reasoning why. I think that when it comes to people committing extreme crimes, say murder or rape, I think those are the two that are terrible crimes that, I mean, personally, like, I have no sympathy for people that do either of those, and I get a little emotional about it, honestly. But for those crimes, people that commit those are not thinking about the consequences when they commit them. And I mean, and that's obviously not an all-inclusive statement. There's exceptions, but in in a lot of circumstances, when they commit those things, they're in a certain mindset that, I mean, they're going to do it one way or another. They're just going to do it, and that's tragic. And I hate that that evil is in our world, but it is, and we have to live with that. That people, regardless of the outcome, they're not going to think about the outcome. They're just going to do what they want to do at that moment, or in some sickening cases, they plan it very thoroughly. Well, when you plan it very thoroughly, do you plan on getting caught? No. Usually, most perpetrators don't plan on getting caught. And if they're not going to be planning on getting caught, why would they plan on having to deal with the consequences of being caught? And that's the very reason why. I mean, it's not conclusively evident that the death penalty makes a whole lot of a difference. And so that being said, but what if we lessened it? What if we did not have the death penalty? Would that make crime rise? Well, I think it actually I don't know. I can't say I would know if crime would rise, but I do think that it would not be good for our society, and let me tell you why. Um, when you have people committing crimes, they know they're not going to die for it, but they'll be, say, in jail for the rest of their lives. You get more situations where, taxes are being used for these lifetime criminals. Personally, I take a very kind of aggressive stance, and I'm not saying that. I don't even know if my stance is proper, but it's honestly a purely emotional stance. It's that when people commit some of these rape or murder crimes, I have zero sympathy for it, and so I'm like, no, we should not pay any taxes for them. I don't want to support them living at all, and if that means that they have to die, then they get what's coming to them. And I know that's extreme, and I know many of you might not agree with that, but when you get down to like actual numbers, you're going to pay more taxes. We're all going to pay more money out of our pocket going to these people that have committed, atrocities to our communities. And I can't support that personally, and I don't think it's good for the community in general either. And honestly, it just gives people less of an incentive to not commit crimes. Like I don't know if there'd be a spike or anything if they're like, no death penalty. I mean, people still obviously don't want to rot in jail for the rest of their lives, so I know that's a pretty good deterrent. But we gotta accept that, paying more taxes. Do we want to potentially do that? And so maybe where we're sitting at right now with death penalty in certain circumstances, certain extreme circumstances, maybe that's the right way to go. And so let's go to the religious or moral righteousness side. People that uphold high moral or religious standards, which is, I think that's perfectly fine, and I think I'm personally very centered when it comes to issues. In general, I don't lean right or left, conservative or liberal. I'm a very centered person when it comes to views. But let's take that side where we should not as human beings have the responsibility, or we do not have the power to pass judgment, life or death, on another human being. And I think that's a valid argument. Whether you're religious, non-religious, I don't think that matters. I think it is a good argument. And basically my rebuttal to that is, you're right. Who are we to judge? But when it comes to keeping the safety of our community, we pass judgment on each other all the time in many different ways. Many smaller crimes, we're passing judgment. Oh, you smoked marijuana, you're going to jail. We pass judgment even though they didn't hurt anybody else and they're a using of an illegal substance, but we pass judgment on them and they go to jail for it. So, we do it all the time, and we do it for a reason. It's not like we're doing it arbitrarily. We're doing it to keep a certain amount of order within our community. And to keep that order, you have to deter bad behavior, and to deter extreme bad behavior, the punishment has to somewhat fit the crime. And I don't believe that we should let people be judged, whether you're religious or not. I don't think you should let people be judged after death. They should be held responsible for their actions on this earth while they're still living, as best as possible. And so if they decide to commit a heinous act of, rape, murder, various other things like the such, if they're going to decide to do that, then they need to be punished on this earth before they leave to some degree. And maybe you think that them getting death is a cop-out. They don't have to reap what they sow, so to speak. They don't have to rot in jail because they just get to die. They end their life right there. So I don't know the best solution, but I do think we should hold people responsible, and whether or not that is death, in certain circumstances, I feel like ridding our earth of people like that want to commit those extreme crimes against us, I'm fine with that. I think, as humanity, we can advance better, faster if we don't have people like that holding us back with our resources going to them, time, money. Well, what if we don't have to spend any time and money on people that do that because they're not going to ever be a part of the community again because of their sentence? I don't know. I'm thinking more of our community's future, our society's future, and not so much of the punishment at that point. If we can get rid of them from our society to move us forward, as with money standards, with time, effort, I would think that would be the better option. But maybe you say that they're not receiving their proper punishment, and maybe you're right. Like, I'm not going to say you're wrong there, because it is a very, very, very touchy subject that, I don't think it's so gray. It's such a gray area. There's no white and black. There's no right and wrong in this. It's so, well, you get the point. You get the point. So, what can we do to better prevent from things like this? If upping the crime to extreme measures, like, say, public execution, if that isn't going to be an answer, and if we have reasonable suspicion that won't solve it, what can we do? Will we always have this evil? Will we never be able to solve it? I think there's ways that we can help ourselves prevent stuff like this. I mean, there was a story not too long ago of a North Carolina. I think she was going to school at North Carolina, and she went to get in an Uber. She asked, like, "Oh, are you my Uber driver?" He said yes, and then he took her off, raped her, killed her. That's so... I get angry just thinking about it, and I can't imagine what the friends, family of her are even going through, and I hate to even imagine it. But what can we do to prevent stuff like that? And things that I think that we can help as a community is, stay vigilant. Personally, stay vigilant. When there are circumstances in which you might be in a vulnerable position, do your best possible, make the best possible actions to prevent yourself from being in a vulnerable position like that. And that goes for guys and girls. Homicide rates against guys, male on male, that's highest in the country. It's usually males killing other males. Usually, I'm guessing drugs, but I'm not going to quote anything. But what we can do is put ourselves in the right place. Don't put ourselves in the wrong place. Don't keep yourself protected to some degree. Pepper spray. If you conceal carry, fine. But that doesn't go for your person. That goes for the community around you, your friend group even. You go out to the bar, Friday night, hanging out with people. Don't let someone go off by themselves. Don't let someone go home by themselves or without you knowing for a fact they're going to get there safely. You got to look out for each other. And I think that's one of the best things we could do to help protect each other is stay with people. Don't wander off by yourselves at very poor hours. Don't take an Uber driver at 1 o'clock in the morning. And I'm not blaming her by any means. That's not what I'm getting at. I'm not blaming her actions. I'm saying we need to do better as a community to look out for stuff like this and to protect each other. It's a dangerous world with dangerous people, and you have to treat it like that. You can't treat it like everyone around you is going to be, everyone around you is going to be some nice person ready to help. You got to act like there's bad intent, and it sucks that we don't live in a world like that, but that's reality, and you kind of got to suck it up, treat the world like that, protect yourselves, protect your friends, and I think that's honestly the best solution we can do. If you're a criminal and you're looking to get an easy pickings and you can't find one because everyone's always helping each other, and I bet you crime would drop. I'm just saying that, it's good preventative work, but it'll always be there. The threat will always be there, which we just have to keep mind of and help each other. But what do you think? Do you think that the death penalty is worth keeping around? Do you think it's not worth keeping around? Do you think it's getting people off the hook for their crimes? Let me know. Let me know in the comments below. Let's talk about it. I'm really interested on this one because I get stirred up with emotion a lot with this. But I try not to let it affect my judgment. I know it probably does to some degree. But you could see that. You could hear what I was saying to determine that for yourselves. But anyway, yeah, let me know what you have to say in the comments below. Subscribe if you want more content similar to this. All right. See you.